Oh, you haven't started yet?
Not until you tell me so. I just started.
I'm sorry. We rolling?
Rolling.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the March 15th, 2021 Board of Trustees Budget Committee. Tonight, we will be dealing with the Department of Public Works and with the legal department. So to start us off from the Department of Public Works is our longtime DPW head and all-around good guy, Mr. Tony Accavelli.
Had open a meeting.
Oh, I need a motion to open the meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hi, Tony.
How you doing,
Good, how are
everybody?
you? Well, what do you have for us tonight, Tony?
I have a lot of budget lines.
Okay.
Yeah, whoever
Usually
you-
there was some, okay, we just want to go through line by line?
Yeah.
That's up to you.
No, some departments have presentations, but we know what you do.
Excuse me?
Just for the people watching at home, just tell us, what the DPW handles.
Well, we do everything. We start with we have road maintenance. Number one, we do the sanitation pickup, garbage, recyclables. We do the tree work throughout the village, tree planting throughout the village.
Mhm.
We do the sewer maintenance
Mhm.
throughout the village. Let's see, we do the street sweeping throughout the village. What else we got here? Sanitation, street sweeping.
Catch basin reconstruction, those kinds of things.
Yeah, the part of the sewer maintenance.
Yeah.
With the catch basin storm drains,
Lights, yeah, signs.
Yeah, lights, electricity.
all the street lights and all electricity in all the buildings. And we do the, leaf program and the snow program.
Gotcha.
We
All
don't
right.
stop.
All right, so let's go through the budget.
I lost my screen.
I think we all did.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Do it again. Sorry.
That's okay. All right.
It's the same that. Okay.
Okay.
Make it a little bigger, please. There you go. Just move it on the bottom.
Augie, could you go up?
I'm not aware of making this bigger. Let me.
The
Yeah.
plus sign next to the,
Yeah,
There's a plus sign. It's at 97.3. See what the next,
there you go. As simple as that.
yeah. You do 100, yeah, there you go. There you go. It's for the over 50 eyes here, which I think we all have. All right, go ahead, Tone.
You're looking at the Public Works administration portion of the budget. We've, kept everything, numbers down low, the percentages are all down.
Yep.
There's not much more we can, cut on that one
Mhm.
at all. I don't think there's nothing really we can move around on that budget line.
Just that modest 1.74% increase, those are contractual raises and for Tony's office staff.
Correct.
But everything else he was able to cut. Based on my request to go to try to reduce the group 2 and group 4 areas wherever the department heads could, Tony was able to do that very well. And you can see in some of the areas. Tony, just tell Augie to scroll up. This way you have control over the,
Oh, okay. You can
Yeah.
scroll up, Og?
Keep going. You have to direct me, Tony. How you want me to do this?
Yeah, that's, you can go up more. That's good there, Og.
Mhm.
Geez, we cut everything, all the lines, if you look down through.
Yep.
By quite a bit. There's not much more. You can go up further, Augie. Contractual services, immune. The 1490, 421 is all, contractual services that we cut some, but you can't cut them all because we need those items, on a yearly basis.
Right.
All right, Aug, you can go to the next.
All right, Tony, just go back to 1 second, the generator maintenance, right? Where are those generators? They're down in DPW, and you do the one at Village Hall too?
Yeah, each building should have their own generator maintenance plugged into their program, into their budget.
Okay,
Our building here has our generator and our budget maintains it. The fire departments have theirs, generators, and their budget maintains it. The police station's budget maintains. The village hall over there maintains their generator. So, and the EMS now has one, and their budget would do the maintenance on their generator.
we do the maintenance on this?
We have the contractor that does the maintenance on all of the generators throughout the village.
Okay, it's the same contractor.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Next page, Orb.
This was the carpenter that we had at one time, which we don't have anymore. So this budget's pretty much whited out.
Mhm.
You can scroll up, Bug. Central garage. This is central garage. This is our auto mechanics that maintain all of the vehicles in the village. There's over 100 of them. All the pieces of equipment and vehicles that we operate. The increase is just the contractual raises and for the auto mechanics.
So,
There's
Tony,
nothing-
I want to let the board know that the lead mechanic number may change a little bit. I don't want to necessarily advertise what it's going to change to, but the lead mechanic number may change a little bit based on some of the stuff that we've been working on with HR.
Correct.
Yep.
Which we don't know what the number is going to be yet.
Correct. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would imagine you're gonna have to pay the lead mechanic more than the regular mechanic.
Yes, that's the problem we were having.
We just
We
have
got
to
three-
see what that is.
We got 3 young mechanics there, really willing to learn. They just need guidance. They need a lot of, and without the head mechanic knowing what he's doing, it's difficult.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Okay, you can scroll up, Log. I don't know if there's anything else in here you want to talk about.
No, just the stuff that stayed the same, needs to stay the same, stuff that Tony was able to cut. He was very considerate and trying to shave down the budget to just massage the numbers as best he could. So, and I appreciate that because he was one of, several department heads that were able to do that.
Okay, Log, you can scroll up. You can come right out of the next one, Log.
Probably.
This is the sign maintenance and street striping, the traffic control budget,
Mhm.
the traffic lights, the maintenance on those, which is all out of the traffic control budget. There's we cut some of these lines also.
Mhm.
We didn't, we wrote even with them. There's very little increase in these. You can scroll up, Og.
So, one minute, sorry, I'm just catching up because I have my old 3310 we are now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, keep running.
And Tony, when Pablo needs assistance, you'll share
Yep.
someone from the other unit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which during the heavy part of the season, during painting and heavy signage or something like that, we
Yeah.
always get, support them wherever we can.
Yeah.
Okay, Og, you can scroll up.
Yep.
30 to 621. This is the electrical department. This is the village electrician that does all of the street lighting and a lot of electrical in all the buildings that the village owns. He'll change traffic lights as far as the bulbs go. Those have been not in too bad a shape since we did the LEDs several years ago. So he's out there constantly working. We support him with a laborer as he needs a laborer for doing some of the bigger work. And if he's out in the bucket truck, you need to have the second guy there for secure or safety, for flagging and stuff like that.
Tony, does he have his own license or does he work under the village's license?
No, he has his own license.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, Og, you can go up. Okay, this is the insect control mosquito program that we have.
Yep.
If Jerry wants to touch base on any of this.
Just we reduced the contract services significantly because it's been 2 years that our applicator, who also happens to be a sergeant in our police department, has been learning with our consultant. And so now he'll be out there on his own with just a little bit of money in there, just in case they have to exchange an email or a phone call or something along those lines. But everything else pretty much stayed flat. And as everyone knows, Tony and his work on the catch basin, plus what Dave has done with Otter Creek, has been very successful the past 2 years. So there's a lot of dedication that goes into that. You could see the difference.
I don't remember getting a mosquito bite last year. And it's the first time in a long time I can say that.
And you live in the town of Mamaroneck.
But I have that, whatever, they enjoy biting me.
Oh, I see. It's good. Works out good.
Okay, well, you can scroll up. This is 5110, our street maintenance personnel. Right now, all you can go up. Okay. Pretty much contractual. That's why the everything is up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Storms and emergencies, overtimes, everything's the same. Through Saturdays, leave program. I don't know if anybody has any questions on any of the lines here. If not, all you can go up. Fuel supplies. On the fuel, I mean, the supplies and the materials, this is where we get our money to buy concrete for sidewalk repairs, where a tree is uplifted sidewalks. We do our catch basin, our blacktop repairs, our potholes, or if we're out repairing streets during the summer where we're opening up the potholes that were really bad for the winter and correcting them the proper way. This is where our money comes from, to buy the materials.
How was this winter on potholes, Tony?
It wasn't a good winter for potholes. We got a lot of them.
Gotcha.
We got a lot of them. And it'll be all around the whole county, the state, actually. So we'll have a lot of maintenance to do this summer, getting the streets back into shape. That's about all there. Augie, if you want to scroll up. This is the fund budget line, snow removal. It's you never know what you're going to run into. You know, this was a bad year. We've had three, I think 3 good years, and this was the bad one.
Like Jerry said, you only know what's going to happen on weekends and holidays.
That's
That's
it.
right. That's right.
So yeah, you budget best you can and hope for the best. But this year we didn't make out too good.
Yeah, in 2019, this line, we needed 231,000. And then last year, we only needed 128,000 from this. So you never know. This year, we're
Never
at
know.
307. So
Yep.
tough.
Okay, well, unless there's any other questions, we can scroll up. Street lighting.
One question, what's the date of this? This is current because this is different from what I got in my paper copy. How current is this one?
For the,
Augie?
314.
This is different from what I got. That's why remember we asked when there was going to be a change to give us a heads up.
What is your date, Victor?
February 5th.
This is, and all the others were the same date or are they dated this date?
Same date.
All the others, but they were the same.
They're all the same.
That's the tough thing to follow. Anyway, this one is straightforward. So
Agenda, we sent out last week an updated revenue and expenditure as of March 3rd. So the one you have of February 5th is really old.
Mhm.
yeah, so we're almost done. But if there are changes, give us a heads up. This is pretty clear. This is straightforward. You know, the snow we followed it clearly, so no problem with that. But just for the next couple reviews that are getting close by, give us a heads up if you can, please. Okay, good. I'm okay.
okay, we're at 5182, our street lighting. This buys all the street light bulbs or street light heads, whatever we might need. Poles that might get damaged during storms, and pays the electricity to run the street lights throughout the year. It's actually, we're down. We took a lot of money away from that all the way through.
So we go through 500 bulbs a year?
Probably could be very close, yes.
Has anybody done any analysis of LED lighting and what it would save on a long-term basis?
We do have LED streetlights. And a couple of years ago, I did an analysis and it reduced our the amount we're paying in electricity by about 50%. I can find that and I can send it to you, but I think it's from 2017 or 2018. Our call is when Leon Potok was on the board.
So our street lighting is LED?
Yes.
And how long do the LED lights last? A year?
Depends. I think they say anywhere from 4 to 8 years. It depends, but Tony will probably know better as to the amount of streetlights we're replacing on an annual basis. But we do. It's not just the lights; it's also ancillary equipment that we have to purchase for the streetlights as well.
Correct. And
When did we-
all
when
the
did we
pole
do the
lights are
conversion?
street light.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I think we finished it in. I want to say it was 2017 or 2018. I'll find the information. And I'll supply it again to the board.
I did it in my prior, and in 2018, I had a 10-year warranty on the bulbs, and then after 10 years, it was our responsibility to purchase the bulbs. We had to pay to replace,
Yeah.
fix the bulb, but we had a 10-year warranty on the actual bulb itself, or the fixture, I should
On
say.
the fixture itself, the head.
Yeah. Yeah, the head. I had a 10-year warranty. That's probably pretty consistent, so.
Yeah, I mean, I recall we did have a warranty because I remember there were, when we did the initial installation, there were probably anywhere from, what, 20 to 50 that we had some issue with. Do you recall, Tony, or?
Yeah, there was at least 50 of them.
Yeah,
And
and they were replaced at no charge.
Right.
What we did is when we did the installation, we paid for it through an appropriation from fund balance,
Mhm.
so we could realize the savings ASAP, as opposed to having one of those loan or finance agreements with the companies that do this, those public-private like partnerships.
Right, the town of Mamaroneck did one of those public-private, and
Yeah.
the company takes your savings
Yeah.
for the first couple of years.
Yep.
Okay, let's go on.
Just to clarify, so we don't really buy 500 bulbs at 600. It's just a line for
It's
whatever you
also-
need, correct?
correct.
Okay,
But we-
should that be
All of our
removed?
all of our pole lights in the parks on Mamaroneck Avenue, those are still regular bulbs.
All right,
Those aren't,
Those aren't
LED.
LEDs.
Right.
these are the ones that are come
Yeah.
from out from this line.
Yes, and we have loads of those poles.
Got it, okay.
All of those poles, including those on the Boston Post Road, are LED?
They are not LED yet.
No. Those-
So the ones that were replaced or put in that were new on the corner of Delancey and the Post Road were not LED when they were put in?
I think the only non-LEDs we have now are the decorative lights.
Pole lights,
the-
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are the decorative pole lights. Question.
On Delancey and Post Road,
Yeah,
those are, yeah,
not,
yeah, you're right. Those are not LED. In front of
Those were put in by the developer.
Yes. Those match the lights and the poles on Mamaroneck Avenue. And the ones in Harbor Island.
Okay. Any more questions about light bulbs?
Have we looked into the cost of replacing those pole lights with LEDs? Ever?
we have. There was we did an analysis. It was basically found that it would take us about 17 years to realize a cost savings based on the cost of the decorative lights, by which time you'd have to replace them. Again, I think there's a memo on that. I will forward that to the board as well.
Mhm.
But I found the email about the decrease in energy consumption, and I'm going to send that to the board and the budget committee in a moment.
Okay, let's go to the next page.
Mm-hmm.
40, grant management. Get space and clean.
Tony, you got to talk up.
I'm just reading it myself. Sorry, Tom.
Okay.
This is the stormwater management. This is where we, if we need to get a contractor in to do storm drains, cleaning, if we need to do major repairs to storm drains, this is where it comes from. Now that we have our vac truck up and running from last year, we're doing quite a few of the storm drains ourselves. And once the spring hits, we'll be back into that again. with our truck and not having to get a contractor.
So I'm confused. Are we budgeting for a outside contractor or not? Contractor or not?
Are we only for an emergency situation? Or if a large project come up that we can't handle?
So is that the 23,000 or am I confused?
23,000.
River and channel cleaning, 23,200.
That's the river. Yeah, that's the river. That's not the storm drains.
That's not storm drains.
That would be
Catch basin cleaning, that's the contractual $6,800.
correct. The river and channels are different. That's the mud flats in the Jefferson Avenue, Mamaroneck River, by the Jefferson Avenue Bridge.
Yep.
By the North Barry Avenue, the EMS building, and then over on the Sheldrake River by the Fenimore Road Bridge.
What about the 95 bridge by Warren Park?
We've only dredged there on the Grove Street side of that. That's the only place we've ever had to open up over the years.
When was the last time you did that, Tony?
Oh, I believe, Dan, you might be able to correct me, maybe about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 2013 or 14, I think.
It's way back.
Yeah, somewhere in
Yeah.
that neighborhood.
But I recall we did it once, then it, kind of filled up again, but then once we cleaned it the second time, it's been operating pretty good the last
Yes.
several years.
Yeah, it's
Um,
getting due though. Jefferson Avenue and Fenimore Road are really starting to build up again.
Same with the Northbury Avenue extension.
Yes.
Yeah, that's real bad. That gets real bad.
Yep.
Any more questions on this page? Okay.
Bug, you can scroll up, Bug. Okay. This is our sanitation department. Again, everybody knows what they do. They're out there in every bit of weather, 5 days a week, no matter whether it rains, snows, or it's 100 degrees out. They're out there picking garbage up, recyclables, and yard waste. As you
You got
know,
2 vacancies?
huh?
You got 3 vacancies?
2.
I say 3.
Should be right now. There's 1 vacancy.
We have Brian,
Correct.
retiree, Brian Doria, just retired.
Correct.
Did we have a vacancy prior?
If you look at line 455 and 460, says vacant.
Those are vacant from the 2015 or 14. What was it? We did the survey, Dan, when we eliminated 1 route.
That was probably
2015.
the Red Oak study, I think
All right,
was, yeah.
Why
I
are they
can't
still in the
remember.
budget?
Well, they're not in the budget. They were there in case the routes didn't work or if we had to add. But the money's
No,
not in there.
They are in the budget. You're not spending the money. You
Oh,
understand what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I see that. It's
All
No,
right,
but-
that's okay.
But if I can just, there's a real vacancy for Brian Doria. We didn't fill that yet.
No, I understand that, Jerry,
Oh,
but if you look at the other 2,
I mean,
455 and 460, they've just been vacant.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware of those. in
Yeah, I wasn't either, actually.
No?
Yeah, Brian Dory would have been up like 100.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brian
he is
Dury
the
is
100
100.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the 100 line, and that needs to be filled in.
And that
I
needs to be
understand
filled
that.
in.
So it's really only one extra.
No. There are two positions that are being
I
held
see.
vacant.
Yes, yeah, I apologize.
And if you add them together, it's 164,000, 300 and change.
Yeah,
I'm just pointing that out. Let's keep that, bear that in mind.
Yeah, but I'm looking at 320, Paul Denaro. I don't see any money in there for his line.
Yep.
So we're missing his and we're missing Brian Doria's.
So it looks like there's two lines that are missing
Right.
that should be filled, and two lines that shouldn't be filled that have a salary in them.
Yeah.
The overall FTE count from last year to this year is 15. So the count has remained same. If we have to go through the names and make sure all the names are accurate, we'll do that.
Yeah, let's do that, please. Because if we eliminated those two positions in 15, we shouldn't just keep them, in the budget.
They probably belong up with Brian Doria's name and Paul Denaro's name.
correct.
Those two figures.
Probably right.
Let's make sure.
Okay.
Let's look at last year's budget and see if that was in there.
Okay, you can just
How
scroll up
many
a
years
little
did
bit.
Brian have?
Huh?
Brian, how many years did he have?
31.
Yeah. He was my guy when I lived on Prospect Avenue forever. He was a great guy.
Augie, can you go up a little bit? Okay, well,
Go to the next page or stay on the
I just
bottom.
wanted to look at the overtime portion,
It's down here.
8160, 140. Where'd it go?
So on 8160 right now.
Okay.
8160, 140. It's on the bottom here, Tony.
Okay, I see it now. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah.
The total on that was, as you've seen this year with the pandemic, we really getting beat up with the recycling program on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to continue through. So that overtime line now, that because I put this in back in the end of December, beginning of January.
Yep.
The overtime line is going to be short in this budget year also coming up. You know,
The
unless we
overtime
wanna-
is because we can't complete the routes in the normal day shift.
Correct. And this is just on Wednesday.
No, I understand. It's just on Wednesday. I got it.
There's just so much cardboard out there and so much recyclables. It's taken, the men are out there for an extra 2-3 hours on every Wednesday.
And there's so much more cardboard that's even being delivered to the yard at Fayette.
Correct.
I mean, just like when you go there's always people bringing a lot of cardboard.
Yep.
Is the county recycling this stuff still? Because I heard that they weren't.
They're still recycling it.
They are? Okay.
Okay, well, you can go up. Oh, this is all contractual here. You can go up one. Okay, well, this is just repair to the trucks and the fuel and oil. We got to repair them if we're going to keep picking up garbage.
Do we repair the sanitation trucks or we send them out?
We do 99% of the work here. Some of the stuff we haven't done with the right mechanic foreman again, we will be doing it again, but there are some items that, the guys that we have now are just not, sure what to do with it. So we got to send it out.
So we have a lift that can hold the sanitation truck.
Not a lift, no. We have jacks that we can.
Okay.
We can pick up the whole truck.
Gotcha. Imagine everything on that is heavy.
Yes,
Do we keep a log on each individual piece of equipment as to how much we're putting into it every year in repairs or not?
yes.
Mhm.
Can you scroll up, Log? Okay, next page. E-170. This is our street sweeper. The sweeping program. We have one full-time employee on it that sweeps Tuesday through Saturday. And then another employee that fills in on Mondays and the days that the other employee, full-time employee is out on, vacation or a personal day or sick.
Mhm.
How many street sweepers do we have? I mean,
Excuse me?
trucks.
How many who?
How many trucks? Do we have two street sweeping trucks or one?
We have two street sweeping sweepers.
Okay,
One first, we call our first line, and then the older one we use as a second line. Come April 1st, both sweepers go out for the spring cleanup for the first month. And they do double the work, get all the stuff up from the winter months.
gotcha.
And then we go back to just one sweeper per day.
And we don't do anything in the winter?
It all depends, like this winter with the month of February, you can't put the sweeper out there. The sweeper went out occasionally on January when the weather was good and not too cold, because otherwise the water that has to go out with the sweeper freezes up the road and freezes up the sweeper itself. So you end up with a lot of damage. So on the better days, yes, we try to get it out whenever we can, especially through the business district where the stores are.
Okay.
Okay, Og. Okay, up. Pretty close to that. You can go on next page, Og. This is the tree, shade trees and the contractor for the taking the trees down and pruning the trees throughout the village.
Who's the contractor, Tony?
Who's Olmsted Tree Company?
Gotcha.
You have a contract with them, Tony?
Yes.
And when's it renewable?
I think it comes up in June.
I think it should be coming up.
Yeah, I think it comes up in June if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm. Again.
They're putting the bags on the trees soon?
Huh?
Will you be putting the bags on the newly planted trees soon?
Yes, the Parks Department does that.
Okay,
Gator bags, Mayor. They're called gator bags.
right.
Great name.
Then they work well. They help tremendously. There's not much you can do with the tree. Kind of left it the same all the way through.
Sure.
Augie, I think that's it.
That might be it.
That should be it.
Okay. Does anybody on the board have any questions for Mr. Acchiavelli before I go to the budget committee?
If I could ask one, I did see some things in the budget, like $2,000 for paint, and there was a little for blacktop repair. And so, the traffic commission has been doing these walking safety assessments, and they have several, low budget, medium budget, and then expensive items. I don't think there's anything in the budget for those things. Am I right? Those safety assessments haven't been considered when you've been looking at paint or blacktop or anything. Am I right on that?
Correct.
Thank
We
you.
haven't.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to the Budget Committee. Glenn has his hand up. Augie, could you get Mr. Tippett?
Good evening,
Hi, Glenn.
members. First of all, Tony, thanks for a nice start. We started February with a lot of potholes, and I saw on those good days you really went out there and hit the big ones. Very nice job. Lead maintenance mechanic is vacant. We are going to do something with the position, but we're not sure exactly what we're doing yet. Is that correct?
Correct.
No, the idea is to hire a lead mechanic.
That's the
Yeah,
idea.
you're just not sure of the scope, salary, but we are looking to replace the lead mechanic, correct?
Mhm.
Overtime, and this goes back to leaf overtime, overtime on all the lines, either are right up against it or over. Every overtime line, except for one that I saw in Tony's budget, is either at where, basically there's virtually nothing left with 3 months left in the year, or it's already over. It doesn't make any sense not to put more overtime into the line if all you're going to do is blow through it. That has to be looked at. I think the first overtime I looked at was there's 1,800 spent, there's 2,000 left. The second one is 2,600. It's already over. And then the one that he was just talking about with sanitation. So you have to, and I mean, this goes for the whole budget. I've been arguing this with every department. Your overtimes are all either right at the line or over for this year, and you have 3 months left. You can't keep ignoring overtime for all these departments. They have to be able to breathe. If somebody's sick and they need overtime to fill in, it just has to be dealt with. Contract services, 8160, I believe. That's easy pass and tipping fees. Easy pass goes up every January, and have the tipping fees gone up? And does the budget reflect that both those lines are going to be more expensive?
Yes. I did when I did the budget.
And stormwater management shows no expense this year. Did we simply skip it because of COVID, or is that something that normally is done in the spring?
It was basically skipped because of the COVID.
What's that?
It was skipped because of the COVID.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Glenn. All right. Tony, thank you very much.
That's it?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, right?
No,
You've had worse nights.
actually, very good, actually.
Oh, the staff did a lot of the cutting themselves, and that's the best way to do it.
They did a good job, Mayor. They really did. Tony, one thing unrelated to the budget, but you're on the screen now, is that they passed a law about allowing our employees to get vaccinated on our time. So if you get questions, Danielle, who's kind of like still working from home, she'll get something out. I just wanted to let you know, since we got a list from you last week about your employees and who would be getting a COVID test. I mean, a COVID vaccine.
Vaccine.
Yeah, vaccine.
That was the list we submitted last Thursday.
Yeah. Yep.
And will the employees be notified on that, Jerry?
What we'll do is we'll push something out. I just wanted to let you know, I read it over the weekend, then I talked to Danielle this morning. After I saw you, I talked to Danielle about it this morning.
Okay, great. Yeah, some of the employees are anxious. That'll be good.
Yeah,
Good.
I wanted to clear that up.
Excellent, excellent.
And thank the employees for us, Tony. They're doing a great job.
I will. Thank you. Thank you.
And
Have a good evening.
it makes sense that they can just, if they can get a shot, they can go. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
It behooves us all.
all of us, yeah.
Yes, I think it'll be great.
The county
Is there a
called
way
for
we
it,
can
so
make an arrangement with somebody to be able to take, so many people a day, each day? And try and schedule something?
this operation was, the county asked us to put together a list of what they call front-facing employees, which are building department, parks, public works. And we're set up to go to Westchester Community College, which I don't know. I've never been there, so I don't know where that is.
In Valhalla.
Valhalla.
So it's, 20
Easy to
minutes,
get
a
to.
half hour away. So
They have to make appointments, or how does that work? We don't.
we sign them up, and they're given an appointment.
Good.
And then they go.
So
And they go
that's-
get their vaccine.
So that's why it's nice they can take time off, because you don't really get a chance to schedule your own appointment.
Yeah. Yeah,
Good.
but I'm mentioning it to Tony because Tony has the scheduling challenge of all these different employees going at all these different times, and he has to,
Well, for this, we'll really make it work, because this is important. It really
Sure.
is.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tony,
Thank you.
Jerry, does the sewer department operate under DPW as well, or not?
Tony supervises the sewer employees, yes, but it's a separate budget, which I'm hoping that when we have the sewer budget, that Tony joins us again. Forgive me, I can't remember the date of when we're talking about the sewer budget, but
Yeah, just
Tony
let me
will.
know when. That'll be fine.
24th, Larry.
24th, thank you.
No, I did
No, we switched it. It's in,
April.
Yeah.
April 13th now.
it's in April, Tony,
Right.
after
Okay.
Easter.
No
It's in
problem.
Yeah.
I'm not going nowhere.
We'll talk about it.
That's good to know, Tony, that you're not going to. That's good. All right. Have a good night, Tony.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Hopefully, we'll all start going somewhere soon.
Hope springs eternal.
The next is the village attorney line. Jerry, you want to talk about this?
So we're in an unusual situation, because we have a village attorney. We've allotted for a contract or a outside village attorney in a budget that I believe will need to make some provisions for a inside village attorney. And so this is a transition situation. Currently, we have, the retainer for our village attorney. We have chunk of money, a big chunk of money for legal expenses or litigation, whatever you want to call it. So I really don't know. It's the board's initiative to ultimately hire a village attorney. And while I know about it, I'm not sure if we've had too much discussion about it as to why or when. Maybe I know when a little bit, I can guess at it, but I'm guessing at a lot of it. So I think that the conversation might be appropriate now, might be appropriate another time. But we are
Well,
dealing with the budget for legal right now.
and what are the expenses, the estimated expenses for a full-time village attorney?
So that's what, so
Will be
today, the
sent out
village
before.
attorney, it closes today, right? So the application period closed an hour ago. I don't know what the salary is. I don't know what the expectation or vision of the board is to staff the village attorney's office. I don't know if they want to have 2 part-timers, 1 full-timer, 2 full-timers, 3 part-timers. Those are all things that are operational in nature, and that needs to be discussed. Obviously, it's easier if we just keep the current structure, but the board wants to do something different. So I like to do things differently as well. So I'm going to give it a shot.
Okay. Um,
Augie had this thing he sent out. I don't have it up. I apologize. I should have grabbed it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's what you had. No, it was more detailed than that. I think I saw it. Let me see.
No, that's it.
Attorney to legal.
Okay.
But once again, this is what I'm assuming. I don't know exactly what the board wants to do.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
might
there's a lot of guesses.
do part-time attorneys. I'm not sure.
So this is for one, just so the people are watching, the board is considering hiring a full-time village attorney who works for the village of Mamaroneck rather than contract out the services. We've done that before, I think, with a degree of success. This is a salary line for that village attorney. And if we choose to get that village attorney administrative help, there's a salary line for that. And then that's the fringe benefits for those 2 employees. And the contract services would be for outside litigation.
Yeah, because now you have an office attorney that can't do all the outside litigation. So you're gonna have to contract that out. We're projecting 130,000.
Okay, so right now we have litigation expenses of 370. That those are based upon what we spent last year, or where did 370 come from?
I think that's a repeat number. I think that's something we throw in there each year.
And how did
I
we
think
do
it's a-
against last year? Do we know that?
As of right now, I could tell you how we did. 1 second. Stop.
Yeah, as of right now.
And it'll be useful to have that detailed information. We really need to go behind this department.
Sure, while he's doing that, and
Budgeted
we have,
5. We've already spent
and we
5.
have the,
He's answering, Dan. What's the answer, Augie?
So as you see, is in the 2021 budget, we budgeted 565. And so far to date, we've spent 520,967.
In year 2020, how much have we spent?
Yeah, 2020, we spent 661,303,
Uh-huh. In 19, we spent 560.
560. So that's why I put, these are conservative numbers. It could be a lot more when the actuals come out.
But the litigation costs don't necessarily tie to, well, theoretically, they'd be lower if we have a full-time in-house attorney. But
Well, I'm curious though, why is that?
No, inside village.
I mean, the idea is that an inside village attorney is managing litigation in ways that we are unable to do.
But I've never understood really how a full-time village attorney manages litigation in ways that we aren't managing litigation right now.
Because we just pay the bills. We don't set a budget, we just pay the bills.
But what would the full-time village attorney do?
The proposal, and this is what happened when Tom was a trustee previously, that we had a village attorney who really who managed the litigation, who made sure that we were on some sort of a budget with the litigation, as opposed to just handing it to attorneys. I mean, I'm not saying that the attorneys are doing anything wrong, but there just isn't anybody accountable except for us to pay the bills.
Nora's right with the history. I just want to clarify. Before we hired the full-time village attorney, the village had gone through catastrophic litigations. We had lost the day school litigation, which cost the village $4.75 million in settlement, plus millions in legal fees. We had lost the police litigation, which cost the village millions in settlements, plus a lot of money in legal fees. and we had lost the day labor litigation, which had cost the village $500,000 in settlement, plus probably in excess of $1 million in legal fees. And I was of a mind, and that happened because the attorney and the board we had at the time was encouraging appeals that were frivolous, was encouraging all kinds of extraneous litigation inside the litigations that didn't pay off. In the case of the police litigation, they had hired a hearing officer to hear all of these police cases, and contrary to New York state law, because they couldn't delegate it, because we hadn't passed the law that we passed in '09, allowing the delegation of these hearings. So all of this cost us tons and tons of money, and enriched a couple of lawyers to an extraordinary amount. After the village attorney was hired, these cases were gone. And to her credit, I think she steered us out of, gave us good legal advice in the short time that she was a village attorney, because after a change in mayors, she was let go. So I'm just saying this more for the history of what happened and why it happened. I still think it could be a good idea. I think we have to look at what the financial viability is too. There is a big expense up front. I think that sometimes when you're doing something like this, you have to eat the expense up front. And but you have to be brave enough to say, I think that this is something that's going to benefit the village in the long term. And it might have a little pain now, but hopefully it'll pay off in the future. We should look at this thoroughly and see if that is the case. But we should be honest too, that there is, a big bite up front.
And that big bite up front is paying the salary of the village attorney and the fringe. Is that the bite up front? Because I don't see that
Yes,
going
the
away.
salary, the fringe, the office assistant,
Yeah.
Nexus Lexus doesn't come free.
No, but I don't see any of those expenses going away. It's a bite up front, but I see it's a continuing bite. Doesn't go away.
No, but what I mean, I'm not saying it goes away, Kelly, but what I'm saying is, in situations like this, if you have to, let's just say you have to have a tax increase to pay for it. Once you've increased the tax, you don't have to increase it again to cover it. Let's just say, just for the sake of argument, that this cost 1% on the tax rate, right? Now, if you did that in a year, you don't have to do it the next year because you've already done it. Do you understand what I mean?
I do. You're just deciding that you're going to spend, $400,000 a year on having a village attorney.
No, I think we should, I think to Victor's point, we should analyze exactly how it's worked out with the consulting attorney, and how that, what those costs have been for us too. So.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree with that too, but I think we have to bear in mind that the consulting attorney, or the attorney, the village attorney, who is an outside contractor, what we have to look at is how the litigations were handled. And, but, let's bear in mind that, we didn't start the litigations. But so I think we should give staff a mandate to look at the other associated costs and to look at the costs of litigation, and over the past 5 years. So, and what we can, hope to achieve by cutting down litigation, and how we can actually, bring that to fruition. and what we can expect to save, right? And what litigations, if any, can an in-house counsel
Hand-
hopefully manage? There are villages that do this. Portchester's done it with great success for years. I'm pretty sure that Ossining does it. Peekskill's a city, but I know Peekskill does it too. But Peekskill's a city.
Scarsdale has 2 village attorneys, full-time staff.
Really?
Yeah.
Scarsdale's got multiple everythings.
Yep. They have a lot of extra.
Yes.
Are you done, Mayor?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Are you finished? Okay. I just want to then break this in the pieces so we can put it together. The
Okay.
piece that is difficult, but we have to separate is the litigation expenses. And that's where I think we can look to the years, and we also have to look at the current docket. It's very dependent on what we have now and how things could shape in the next in the next coming months. What has been submitted, what cases, so we can have that review once we know a little more about our current docket, and we can do that analyzing some of the cases we have, because I think that amount that is listed in August estimate may be a little short, as we have 270 here, and if we see the years going back, it's overall, well, that specific line we have to break aside, but overall it's been 660, 560, and I think it's probably not low from that. So, but in order to put this together, first is the litigation that would continue to be outside counsel.
Yep.
So let's leave that aside. Coming to the village attorney himself, I actually want to respond to the village manager and talk to our colleagues that this should not be Board of Trustees kind of mandate or direction. It is really a partnership with the village manager. And I know it's not opposite to what Tom was saying. It's just a little angle that's different. Because I think that is the person that's going to be there next to the staff, next to you in particular, running, helping you ask the right questions, looking at the invoices, helping both you, the manager, and all your team, and us when we have to get an outside counsel to give us a budget for a future case. Essentially, we will start in a way forecasting legal litigation and building that into our system, which we've done, but a little haphazard. We'll make it more kind of official, and then this line can be looked at very carefully. But how to staff the office has to be a conversation between the two of us. So I suggest the following. Now we have received resumes. Once we review that next week, we can decide who we're going to interview, and also it will give us a very good idea of what's the range that we were looking at and what are we being asked. So I have to, and then we can have a range between such and such, and then say if within that range, and if it's going to start in 2 months or in a month and a half, then we can put together a budget. If you say, I'm going to staff it this way, and maybe I can, depending on how it goes, I can do it that way. But the staffing, I think, depends to a large degree on how you want to put this all together. So this is really a very important conversation. He's the village attorney will represent the Board of Trustees, and we are part of his client. But I think actually like 80% of the work or the client is staff, is you. So I think we need to put that all together and make it a that sort of conversation, because then we're going to set ourselves to fail. So the success I see is putting that range of salaries, right, between let's say 140, 150, whatever. I don't want to throw numbers, and then also give you an idea of more or less when that could be staffed. Then you can run some numbers for us, and hear suggestions from you as how do you think it can be staffed? 2-time, part-time, 1, but that's going to be key, because and also how to shape that position. We'll have to be realistic. There's going to be a little bit of HR. It's going to be a mix of things, and that's the he's going to be the go-to guy in staff, and also he's going to be, of course, having to advise the board, and we will have to make sure that we allot times properly. So with that, I think it's more of a conversation that can start today, but needs to be fed in the next couple of weeks. As it's a moving target basically, but let's try to do the best we can in the next month so that it can be wrapped as part of this budget, with some assumptions.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Victor, that we should back out the number for litigation, because that we have big litigations going on, and that's not going to disappear overnight, right? So if we just do apples to apples, the contract that we have now is 110, and if we hire, if we use Augie's numbers and we hire an office assistant with the full-time village attorney, that gets you close to 400,000. So, and I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I'm just saying, it's something we have to look at. That basically will be going from paying 110,000 for basic, I want to say basic cable, because that's what I feel like I pay for my cable TV. 110,000 for, the retainer agreement work covered by the village attorney, to, in excess of 390,000. So maybe those numbers aren't where we should be, or maybe we could look at them again. But I just want to throw that out there. If you take all these numbers and you add them up, it's $396,750.
And I would just ask that Augie that we get some general sense of what LexisNexis is going to cost for a year.
We pay for LexisNexis because when our consulting attorney does a search, we pay for that. That's in some of the bills. So I think that's something that we're already paying for. I guess we're not paying for subscription.
It's different to pay for it in your bill when they're doing a litigation than having, we're still going to have to pay that cost. If an outside attorney is doing a litigation, he's going to use his LexisNexis. But what I'm saying is we're going to need a LexisNexis in Village Hall if we have a village attorney.
Mm-hmm. But I do think we are sometimes billed for it anyway, so I think we should.
Yeah, we are billed for it because we're using theirs. We don't have one here.
Right, but I'm saying sometimes we're billed for it by our village attorney, so I think that we just need to figure out, that's just one of the costs we have to figure out, the apples to apples cost.
Yeah, I think where we see it come up in bills is in litigation particularly. I think like day-to-day research on drafting a law or some employment issue, I don't think we get billed for that. Like the monthly subscription piece of it, I don't think we see that bill pass through to us. I think that's just part of their firm's cost. I think where we see it is research on particular litigation,
Mm-hmm.
which we will continue to pay. I agree with you, Nora.
Okay. Anybody else have any?
On that topic, I think the cable example that the mayor raised is the right one. We can, there are many options to LexisNexis because LexisNexis is the top of the line. It's very expensive, very, very. But there are many options out there that give you less. But so that's something we have to budget for. But I think we should not budget for the full packet that you get with your cable, but for that basic one. And those are relatively, reasonable. It's when you get more sophisticated that the cost really, skyrockets. So it is a manageable. I think that is a piece, but it's not the one that is as difficult as the full-time salary, the fringe benefits of 2, plus very high legal fees because of the cases that we have. So that's minimum compared to the others.
Okay, well, can we get, can staff take a look to see what LexisNexis costs on a, premium, middle, gold, platinum, whatever the hell they call it?
We'll look at the plans, but I have a couple of questions, and I want to clarify what we're being asked to look at. So it does make sense for us to look at, as Victor said, the current docket and try to figure out how much it will cost us to work through these legal situations that we're in, as far as ongoing litigation, what it'll cost us. So we have to do an analysis for that, because what I want to do is I want to prepare for whatever meeting we discuss this, in the future. So I can do that. I can work with. I can see what potential estimates we can get from our current to see what cost would be associated with the litigation that we're currently in. As far as the range for the new employees while you're going through your resume interview process, what we'll do with Mr. Sarnoff's help is we'll reach out to 10 municipalities that we can find in Westchester that have their own current attorney, okay? And figure out what their numbers are, and then you can formulate the range off of those numbers. We'll just use Westchester. Not going to go to Long Island, not going to go to Rockland. We'll just use Westchester because Westchester is Westchester. The other thing is, if the attorney reports to me every day, that's fine. That person will be what I envision, like what we have for the HR department now. So Danielle reports to me. She has her own office. She has regular, normal duties that she takes care of, but she handles delicate, important personnel situations every single day. So that will be the same for the village attorney. Since the village attorney is appointed by the board, what will be, and that's what I'm not completely clear on, what will be the relationship between the village attorney and the board of trustees? And if we don't have an answer for that, we'll get that. We'll have that conversation later on. So that's what I wanted to say. I don't know if anyone can answer that. Oh, Dan.
Yes.
Oh, so they don't have any more, they don't have Scarsdale doesn't have full-time?
No, they replaced that with a contract attorney.
Last year? 19?
Either last year or like the year before, but it was they used McCarthy Fingar as their village attorney.
I see. Okay.
I'm seeing it, I'm in their 2021 budget. 2021 budget, and it says they have a full-time village attorney and an assistant village attorney. Maybe it was the tentative and they didn't adopt it.
No, they've been, well, maybe they're changing, but they've been using McCarthy Fingar since, I want to say 2019.
Well, I think Jerry's suggestion, Dan, that you come up with, scour Westchester, see who is using a full-time in-house village attorney and what their budgets are.
We have to do that.
Rather than guessing, I think that makes it much simpler.
I appreciate you doing that, Jerry. I think it'll be really helpful to us. I think it'll be important, though, to know whether those other municipalities have carved out land use as a separate line item.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing. Janet, who was the attorney, was doing some land use.
She did HCZM.
I think she did planning too.
Sometimes she did planning, and then there was an outside counsel for zoning, which
Yeah,
is
I think zoning was the only one who was outside. She did the rest
which
of
is something we might be able to do. She didn't handle all the litigation, but she managed all the litigation. She managed all of the creation of records, you know, like the filing the record with the court because she had the access to the village documents. So, I mean, I don't think, you know, I think the first year is going to be, you know, not the, you know, if and when we do this, that it's going to be a bit of a, not necessarily a learning curve, but a curve to get into the routine of how it's going to function.
So Neary's 15 of his 20 hours a week have been spent on managing the legal files.
Mhm.
Augie, what does he do for you? Does he do like when we get judgments? Does he not judgments? He does something for you. Oh, can you explain? I can't remember actually. I'm sorry.
He doesn't do it. To my knowledge, I don't know what he does in particular. He
There's
works on a whole bunch of stuff in there. He's great.
Yeah, he's got he files with the Department of State.
Mhm.
He prepares the advertisement or he prepares the legal notices for us.
Mhm.
And maybe Sally used to do that a long time ago before Lisa.
Files the law with the
Sally did that
Yeah.
before she was deputy clerk.
Right. So we already have, because it was falling by the wayside, we already have somewhat of a part-timer taking care of the things that we have to do that we don't want to pay, I guess, the attorney to do or his staff to do. So we do that now. I'll be more detailed when we meet again on this issue. Did the board think that they were going to, when they interview, I guess we got around 20, I can't remember exactly the number, but about 20 resumes. Were they going to discuss potentially carrying some land use boards or some land use obligations, or was it just that? Did you guys talk about that? Or think, maybe I should just ask, what do you think about that? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm kind of open to everything.
Yeah,
I think that it's important at the very least to have a land use council for zoning. I don't think zoning in the village should have the same attorney.
No, I don't think so at all. That's
so the only reason I ask is because it provides a little bit of savings for us as well. But I don't know if we're even there yet. I think we have to do some research. The current docket and the number of hours that may be required to handle the current litigation will be the hardest thing for me because I'm not an attorney. But I'll talk to Bob about that myself. As far as the 5-year litigation costs, I would ask Augie if he could pull that up.
Absolutely.
Right. So collectively, the three of us will put our heads together and try to figure something out that we can provide. It'll probably require. When do you want to start doing the interviews? We haven't even discussed that, right?
yeah.
Well, the question is, Jerry, do you think that this stuff that the three of you can pull together could be pulled together by the beginning of next week?
Yeah, we can. We should be. We should be able to. We need to do it because without the information, you're not going to be able to start interviewing, and it's not going to. I don't want
Well,
to.
that's what I was getting to.
Yeah, we can't be in.
It certainly would be, helpful background.
Yeah, no, we have to find time to do that. We have to find time to be able to do that, and we will. If we split up the work, the three of us can get something together for you guys.
I'm
know,
happy to
Monday.
happy to help if you want me to do some research because
Okay.
that is my skill.
Yeah. We should just use Nora's Nexus Lexus, and then it would cost
Yes,
nothing, right?
Don't have that.
One
Don't have
suggestion,
that.
Yeah.
I think the litigation cost, of course, it involves Bob. You can start the conversation, but then it's intertwined with the litigation strategy. Depends if you do this or that or what could happen. So part of that could be discussed at Monday's executive session on
Okay.
ongoing litigation when you review the docket.
Good. That's a good time.
So, of course, some of it, when the numbers are the numbers and can be openly discussed, whatever. But if it's tied to that, we can we can ask certain questions and refine that number as it
Right.
relates to litigation, but it requires us to ask some legal questions that should be done there. So it's an
Okay.
opportunity to try to nail it.
Okay.
And I would just,
Can we put this then on the, on the agenda for a week from today?
What do you mean on the agenda, on the work session, on the executive session?
Because
Yes.
the clock is ticking and I think we really need to,
We should all start looking at those resumes and thinking about them.
coming up with like a list of who we think should be interviewed. Jerry,
Yeah.
when you do talk to Bob, I just think it's just important to remember that when we redid his contract to a short-term contract, we increased the price we pay for litigation from $250 an hour to $350 an hour. I mean, that's a huge impact on our litigation costs.
Yep.
I don't know if we can ever get it back down to $250 with
Yeah.
him or anyone else, but I mean, for whatever,
I know that's why I have to focus on the hours, but I understand your point. I really do.
Okay.
Before I go to the budget committee, is anybody else on the board have any other comments? Okay, Augie, could you get Mr. Tippett again?
Good evening once again, board members. Just to go back, your tree budget is at 90%. It's probably another thing that's going to go over the line. I'll leave it at that. On the legal, if you go to a village attorney this year, it's a budget buster. You're going to be going over the 2% cap. There's no way, shape, that there is any way that you'd get around it unless you plan to dip into your general fund by over $1 million. The problem with legal is even if you bring a counsel in, legal has turned into going to the doctor. It's specialized. Outside of your Article 78s and certain other things, everything else, you're not going to have your village attorney doing. It's, you're still going to have that litigation cost. When you talk about the Hampshire lawsuit, there's no way you're going to have a village attorney trying to handle the complication of that lawsuit. When you talk about personnel matters, it's a specialty. You see how specialized it is on the other side, and unfortunately, your side needs that type of specialization in order to compete with the defendants, or else they're gonna have your lunch. The other thing, as you're looking for a village attorney, is 165 the number, or are you looking at a higher cost? And you really do need somebody that has previous experience. You can't have somebody, Tom has said before, you can't have somebody who's 3 years out of law school that hasn't had 5-10 years experience dealing, especially where we are standing right now with the types of litigations we currently have in our budget. So, but the first thing to keep in mind is this the year that you want to go over the salary cap or go deep into debt in order to put a village attorney in. Something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Mr. Aubrey.
Can you hear me now?
Hi,
Yes, sir.
Len. Yep, we can hear you.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. First, without talking about the current litigation, thinking back to what the mayor was saying about the day labor and day school, I was very familiar when those litigations were going on. And I think an important role of the village attorney is what I'll call a risk management role. In other words, certainly there were things that could have been done at that time to avoid those costs. Now, many can't. So I think thinking about the future going forward, in which it will take some time for a village attorney to get up to speed. But that's an important thing, I think. However, you might be able to save some money on land use or even some personnel matters with the village attorney, but there clearly will still be some outside counsel for litigation expenses. Secondly, was around the cost that I saw in Augie's table. I think this is a technical issue. I don't want to get into the weeds too much, but Augie, I think the fringe benefit cost of 178,000 was a significant overstatement of what the expense would be. And if you like, we could talk about that, but that was sort of based on, I think, the FEMA number that Jerry had generated, which included items that are not part of our fringe benefit costs. So, so I think we should, when looking at the costs of the village attorney, we should make sure we take that into account, because that was a big number in Augie's table. It'll still be a net increase of, 250,000, but not as significant perhaps as that table looks like.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Or you could you just send us an email telling us how you came up with those costs?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Ed, grab Ed. Sim Nero?
Yes.
Hi, Ed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
As a former attorney in both the city of New York, MTA, federal government,
Does that mean you're applying for the job?
No, I'm retired. I agree with Len that one of the important aspects of having your own in-house counsel is risk management and risk avoidance. Some of the things that may, that may lead to litigation, but you have an attorney to guide staff, they won't make the mistakes that lead to litigation. So it serves an important role in that regard. And then advising you, an in-house attorney is not interested in generating litigation to make more money. So I think it would be, a savings there. And the other thing I don't remember, but I thought I remembered talking at one of the budget meetings that to look at whether the village court had a LexisNexis contract and whether that could be used for the village attorney. In other words, you're already paying for LexisNexis there. If you are, and I thought that somebody said there was, and they were just worried about confidentiality issues or, court administration issues, sharing the account. But that was something else to look at. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. I just want to say that, I was on the board when I thought, and I would stand by this, I do want to tread carefully though, when I thought that the attorneys at the time were churning litigation and were giving advice that led to continuing litigation and to, and I said it publicly then, so I'm not that afraid of saying it now. I just want to point out that although I'm open to looking at this, I don't feel that that's going on now. And I had firsthand experience with it back in the aughts, at the turn of the century. But there's always litigation in this business. But I hear what you're saying, Ed, and I appreciate it.
Mayor, can I say something about what Ed said?
Yeah,
we're very careful here to be able to, when we feel that something is treading, I don't know, that we might be getting into something murky, to check with the attorneys. We do that on a regular basis with our labor attorneys, probably more frequently than we do with Bob. I might want to look at the current docket, the current litigation, to see how that's been, or what's the origin of that litigation. I'm not sure. I know staff, I especially, make mistakes, but I'm not sure if we're the principal origin of this litigation that we've been dealing with recently. So I just wanted to say that, and maybe just so I can discuss it.
Hey, Jerry, I would add that the land use boards are also very sensitive to that. And they get really good advice. And when we hired this firm in Albany, that was one of the things that, we really talked in depth with them about. I mean, I do think this is something that we are very on top of.
Good, I agree. I just wanted to make sure that that's something that's within our operation and the way we manage this. We do try to cover our actions legally with the advice of the attorneys, and we do that carefully.
Okay. Anybody else on the board have any other comments? I hope we gather all those resumes and begin weeding through them, and everybody send an email saying their favorite choice. Yes, Mr. Natchez.
Jerry, did anything else come in today? Through today? Your last emails?
I couldn't say no for sure because I haven't checked, but it doesn't look like it.
You sent one this morning.
That was it.
Thank you.
That was it. That was the only one. And what I did was I was sending them to Tom and Victor automatically, and then I would wait until the end of the week, but then I just started sending them to the whole board when I was getting them towards the last few days.
Okey-dokey. All righty, that concludes tonight's festivities.
I have one question, a little clarity on the meetings. Our next meeting is on the 24th, where we swapped capital with revenue. But on the 24th, next meeting, we're supposed to have revenue, water fund, and sewer fund.
Okay.
It was noted earlier that that's not the case. There's something.
Okay. I thought we were swapping everything that we were going to do on the 13th on the 24th, and everything we're going to do on the 24th on the 13th.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Okay.
So put water fund and sewer fund on the 13th.
Yep. We'll just do revenue and expenses on the 24th.
Got it. Thank you.
So we do not have a meeting this Friday, the 19th.
No.
My calendar is mistaken, and I get to celebrate the mistake. That is good.
Yeah. That's a reminder date. That's a place, not a placeholder, but it's a reminder that the budget, the tentative, is due that day.
It's like
You released the
finding a
budget.
$20 bill in an old coat.
Yeah.
I just hit delete with happy fingers. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.